Welcome back, folks. And before we get started on this section of notes, I just wanted to tell you something that happened to me the other day. I had two chemists walk into my establishment, and the first one said,
I'll have some H2O.
so I hand some down to her. Okay. And then the second one says,
Wow, that looked refreshing. I'll have some H2O too.
line up. All right, there we go. And the second one died. Go figure.
Everyone gets that because we went through it in Unit 2.
Sure. H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, folks.
Don't drink it.
Don't drink it.
It will harm you.
So we are starting our notes on Unit 4 on cell energy. Closer look at photosynthesis and cell respiration, how cells get the energy they need to do all the things they do to stay alive. And we're going to start out with just kind of a general overview of energy in this first section of notes. So let's begin.
Part 1, forms of energy. Energy. You got this stuff, and it's all over the place, right? So the first form of energy we're going to talk. I couldn't keep that up. I couldn't be cool for more than a second if I tried. Sorry. So
that wasn't cool for any amount of time.
That's what my parents kept saying to me. So the kinetic energy is the first form that we're going to talk about, and we're all familiar with this. This is the energy of movement. So anything that you observe moving has some kinetic energy to it, whether it's a boulder rolling down the hill about to squash you, or somebody running, a car moving, or something that I know you discuss or we talk about in freshman science, freshman chemistry, is that atoms and molecules and subatomic particles and things, all that stuff is moving all the time. So that is a form of kinetic energy as well. We measure that kinetic energy of atoms and molecules as temperature. But that's a really important thing for us to note now, and it pops up again later and then again later on too, that kinetic energy in the form of moving atoms and molecules, or on the larger scale, bigger objects too.
Our next form of energy is potential energy, or stored energy. So this is kind of I like to think of it as the suspenseful energy that you like see the rock sitting on the top of the cliff and you're like, oh, you know that rock is gonna roll down the hill and smash into that person. You've got a coiled spring, you have that bow drawn back. So it's energy that's kind of stored right now. It's resting, it's waiting there. It's not currently being used, but it can be used later. And we'll see that then as kinetic energy usually, but sometimes other forms of energy.
You're the type of person that would sit there and wait for the rock to fall on.
And I would just go straight to the TNT. Another form of potential energy is the energy stored in chemical bonds. It is stored energy. We can take that energy and we have it stored in glucose, like we learned about in the last unit. All those chemical bonds holding all that carbon and hydrogen and oxygen together is all stored energy that we could potentially get out of it later. A type of energy called ATP, which we'll talk about later in this unit. Dynamite, as we got over here with Wile E. Coyote. All chemical bonds contain that energy. And that energy in the bonds can be released when we break it, and then we can use that to do work. It's similar to this little firecracker. We'll see if this one goes on like last time. There we go.
Yay.
Chemical bond energy. Difference between a slow release, like we get in our bodies, or a rapid release would be that explosive power. But that is chemical bond energy, a type of stored energy that we can access later. And here is a glucose molecule. Each one of these chemical bonds has the potential to release some stored energy. Break it down.
Man.
I should put in a sound effect with that, shouldn't I?
Another form of energy that is going to be important in this unit is radiant energy, light energy, like that comes from the sun. Oh, if you swing by the high school anytime recently, I don't know if either of you have noticed, they've started putting up the solar panels over by Madison College. That is capturing energy in the form of sunlight and then converting it into electricity. Something similar happens with plants, right? We'll be talking about photosynthesis in this unit. And you also, I think we've all experienced this. We know that sunlight has energy in it. Imagine standing outside on a sunny day when it's hot out. All of that sunlight can really make you feel really warm. If you stand in the sun too long without sunscreen or other protection, you can get the sunburn. So definitely some energy there in sunlight.
So usable energy. So we talked about all these different sorts of energy, kinetic and potential and chemical and radiant energy. They're everywhere, but the big question to consider is this: how do cells get the energy they need in a form that they can use? Will the world ever figure it out? No one knows. And that's it for this section.